Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Art of MMA. We got a full house today. We'll get to that in 1 second. Of course, I'm Mike Ginn. This episode, we're going to be talking about everything that happened last weekend. We're going to be talking a little bit about BJ Penn's comments. Is MMA a career or an opportunity? We'll get a professional fighter's perspective with Brandon. And then we'll also be talking about Holly Holm. She might be stepping back in that boxing ring to take on Katie Taylor. That's a big matchup that could be made. I'm sure that would sell out Madison Square Garden one more time. But you know what we do. We got to get to business first. Check out FightersFirst.shop. Support the network. Support your brands. As you can see, everybody is rocking a Fighters First shirt. I love it. Go ahead and check out the Mechanic Collection. Your boy Brandon back in the ring on June 18th. And also Justin Rolfe, I believe May 14th, May 15th, something like that. He's back in the ring as well. Heavyweight boxer, New England, former New England heavyweight champ. He'll be back in as well, trying to continue his winning streak. So check out all that. FightersFirst.shop. And this will make Brandon happy. Also got the Moose, Justin Muslia, joining the team as well. Brandon's teammate over at Tiger Schulman. So I'm excited to get his collection. He'll be making his professional debut later this year. So that's exciting stuff. Go ahead and check out Unfiltered. We just did an interview with the Moose. So good stuff, good stuff. But first, gentlemen, how you doing? Tim, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate you having me back on. It's been a while.
It's been a minute, but I felt like it was the right show to make a comeback on, as lineally I should be here. My very first show on the network, we covered Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. It was the check. Man, I don't do that much work anymore. I was looking back and I was like, that guy did so much work on tape study. I don't have time for that anymore, but yeah. So we're back, baby.
Too busy with kicking it on the network. Speaking of his kicking it co-host and my co-host, Brandon. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm good. Just hanging out with you guys on a Wednesday, man, talking some MMA with you.
I'm so honored that the best-looking duo on the network could make time for me.
We got you, baby. We got you.
I don't know which way you're pointing, Tim. You don't know where it's going to come out. When
no, that's right.
Don't worry. Brandon's going to be above you, so you can just point up. You'd be like the Brady Bunch.
That's right. Every time, man.
You know, I told Brandon I'm about to put a disclaimer on you guys. Like every time you say that, I'm like, this has not been sanctioned by the network. These comments.
Oh, man, put a poll out there. I'm sick of this. Let's settle it once and for all. Come on.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Y'all might be the hot new Corvette rolling in on the network, but I haven't seen Kicking It pop a 2,000 view episode yet.
Yeah, we show up. We got time. We got time. We show up once every 2 weeks. You know, we're doing.
The whole best looking thing has got to be very subjective. No,
let's get into it. This is it. The next 90 minutes. This is all we're talking about.
Oh my God, everybody's already tuned out. For real though, let's get to some MMA talk, guys. I'm glad to have both of you on, even Brandon. But start with you, Brandon. Man, there was a lot of action last weekend, man. PFL, we knew Bruno was going to take care of business. Rob fought and Chito Vera had a fight that was worth watching. I know I was talking off air with Tim about sometimes you don't want to check out a lot of these fight nights, but that was one worth watching. What do you think about all the action last weekend?
Yeah, man. Just want to start off with the PFL. Shout outs to Chris Wade, man, against Lance Palmer. Like I told you, man. Lance Palmer had a bad season last year. Yeah, so I know he was looking to bounce back, but like I said though, but Chris Wade, he was a finalist last year. You know, he fell a little short last year, so you knew that he wanted to come out hot, and boom, Chris Wade, he got the job done, got his hand raised. Bubba Jenkins was in action. You know, he's always good on the mic. So I mean, I think
PFL
too. Yeah, I think
knockout over Jamel Jones. Woo.
Yeah, like I said, PFL 2 was the second week was definitely a good start to the week. And then yeah, man, UFC, man, Chito Vera, like I said, that was one of my picks. I picked him to get the job done, and he did. Like I said, I just thought, he had more weapons than Rob Font. Like I said, Rob Font's a boxer, but Chito Vera, he uses his elbows, his hands, his kicks. Like I said, Rob Font started out strong in like that first round. Like Chito was definitely down, but then you saw when he went back to his corner.
By the end of that fight, you knew.
Yeah. But then also too, like in his corner, Jason Perella was kind of saying like, hey, I know the first round you kind of like to, take it easy, get relaxed, but hey, man, it's time to turn it up, and that's what he did.
Yeah, and first of all, you made a little ground up for yourself this weekend. You're still not the lead dog. I'm still the lead dog. But Jason Collier got robbed, He beat Arlovsky. I don't care what. I think the judges
Arlovsky was gonna get the job done, bro.
I think the judges had the scorecards reversed or something. A number of professional fighters agreed with me. I don't know if Jason Collier needs to get off that, as somebody said, the Kelvin Gastelum diet, but and go back to light heavyweight. I don't know, but Jason Collier won that fight. I don't care what the judges said on that. That's some robbery right there. And then, of course, we'll talk about a little later, but the ladies headline in MSG and the boxing, right? Taylor and Serrano, that was crazy. Tim, what you think of all the action last weekend?
Good. Like you said, the Serrano and Katie Taylor fight was certainly the highlight of the weekend because women's boxing doesn't get nearly enough shine that it deserves. These are some of the biggest paydays in women's boxing history. And then we get to argue about 2-minute rounds just perpetually every time it comes up, which is lovely to see because absolutely no one is for 2-minute rounds at this point. However, Marlon Vera and Rob Font absolutely love the bantamweight division, even like the mid-ranked guys in this division, everything from developing to the established to the middle zone. Bantamweight is so flipping good, even outside the UFC. If you add in all these guys,
every promotion has a great bantamweight.
Wait,
even like we talk about it on Luke's down in Luke's Fight League in Mexico. Like bantamweight is the division. What were you saying, Brandon?
Well, I was gonna say, Tim, please help me out. Tell Mike what is the best MMA weight class in MMA right now?
Bantamweight. It's bantamweight.
Exactly. Hence what I said. Hey guys, that's a spoilers. Let you know. Go check out MMA Battleground, where your boy right here, the mechanic, said 135
months ago. Things have changed.
Featherweight over here.
When you make some time in the schedule to do a new episode, that was 5 months ago, Brandon. Things have changed.
Oh, what? Everything's still the same. Just let
MMA changes non-stop. By the way, I think I said
welterweight was right. 135 is what I said. He was over there saying.
I think I said welterweight. 125. I didn't say featherweight. I think I said welterweight.
Well, either way, you're still wrong. 135.
Welterweight's still stacked pretty much wherever you go too, but that's a different story. And also, nobody's talking about it. Bruno doing what Bruno does. Bruno Capoloza just rolling through again, like whoever they put in front of this dude. You know, talk about a light heavyweight that became a heavyweight for PFL, and now all of a sudden he's cashing $1 million checks. And unless he, somehow Ferreira gets screwed again and doesn't get the tournament like he did last year because of the whole Fabricio Verdun crap, we might be seeing those two match up, which at least to be a new matchup instead of him having to fight Ante twice in the season. But man, Bruno doing what Bruno does. Chris Wade looked phenomenal. Katie Taylor Serrano was a barn burner. I don't care who you had winning. I wouldn't have argued either way. But shout out to Jake Paul. You're talking about putting women's boxing on the map, putting the Serrano sisters on the map, and especially Amanda. That's all Jake Paul. Like, I don't know if it's because of his personal friendship with her and just the way they developed when he was training down in Puerto Rico and doing some stuff. But guess what? He has taken her under his wing, and everywhere he goes, she goes. And that's only good for the sport of women's boxing. And it's even, we'll talk about it later with Holly Holm. Clarissa Shields is still doing both because she knows that's where the money is. Dana White might think boxers are overpaid, but I know a number of fighters that think Dana White is full of shit. Mm-hmm. I love how just people just nod. I'll go under the bus. It's fine. Mm-hmm. I think I did get screwed a little bit on UFC. I do think Rob Font lost. I thought Chito Vera won. I told you last week that was hurting my heart because I'm such a Chito Vera fan. I just thought Rob Font was, that dude, and Chito's proven that he's that dude. And now we might even get that Sean O'Malley rematch now that they're both getting higher ranked. So we'll see if that was a fluke or not, which I don't think it was. I think Chito will do the same thing because, quite honestly, I still don't think Sean O'Malley's walking right. Every time I see this dude.
I was going to say, Sean O'Malley, he already has a fight scheduled for July 2nd against Pedro Munoz.
Well, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a while before Vera's back in the cage, maybe September, October anyway. So he's got time. And then also, Brito fucking knocked Feely out. Like, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Feely's a tough dude. He goes 5 rounds or 3 rounds with everybody. In this case, he got stopped. Aboard Jared Gordon. That's why I didn't pick that fight. I knew Jared was in a tough matchup with Grant Dawson. And then it doesn't matter if it's this week, last week, 3 weeks from now. Romanov just went right through Chase Sherman like it was nothing. So that was a lot of the action. Leave a comment below. Tell us what your favorite stuff was from last week. Let's get this conversation rolling. We got some cool subjects to talk about today. And then we're going to go ahead and make our preview and picks Interested to see what our guest does this year. He was kind of like 500 last year when he was joining us. So we'll see what Tim does this year with his expert analysis. It's not kickboxing, Tim. You got to put your MMA hat back on now.
Thanks, man.
For your B show, Kicking It. Anyway, I'm kidding, people. Please go watch Kicking It because it supports me too. Little known fact, I produce it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, like, hey, thanks for putting the whole network together and like taking care of everything, Mike. We really do appreciate you.
I appreciate saying that, but honestly, you guys carry me more than I carry you. So I appreciate all of you. Especially Brandon and all his merchandise sales. So
is that why my back's hurting a little bit?
No, it's because I hit you with a chair shot.
Okay, that's what
I mean, it's because of me, but not because of me. Oh my God, let's get to some actions. Talk about some MMA. BJ Penn came out this week, made some comments. Obviously, he's running for governor of Hawaii. His fail. He tried to originally be like a senator or something, didn't get in there. Now he's going for governor. Talking about bringing an NFL team. Talking about bringing more MMA to Hawaii, which is all great. The NFL team's never going to happen. They're not making that 6-hour flight ever. They'll do it for London once in a while because that's a multi-million-dollar payday for the NFL. But Hawaii, one of the states, they're not getting anything extra except more travel time. I don't see it happening, especially when the players can't take a vacation. Like they're actually working. But one thing he did say is that MMA is an opportunity. It's not a career. That you get in, you try to make a name for yourself, you try to make that spotlight, try to feed your family, but it's not something you do for 40, 50 years. It's not something that you invest in the long term, which is kind of surprising coming from BJ Penn because that's exactly what he's done. Multiple comebacks, multiply trying to continue his career, even though a lot of people wish it would have ended a long time ago. So his legacy wouldn't have been as tarnished as much. I'm going to get to Brandon mainly because I think this is more up his alley being a professional fighter. But Tim, I'll start with you so we can work our way around. What did you think of his comments and how do you lean one way or the other as far as what he was talking about?
Yeah, no, I totally co-signed with you that it's ironic that it was BJ Penn of all people who has he had his outs with the UFC multiple times. He had contract disputes constantly going on. He held the lineal, I think, lightweight and welterweight titles at one point and went over to K1 at some weird point to fight Gomi. But he's also a person on running for governor. He's never struggled. He was really good at everything in his life from a young age. He got the best jiu-jitsu and then he was a world champion within 2 years. He was a UFC champion within his first year of training MMA. This is the most he's ever struggled in his life. But let's go through the list of people who have.
You're not counting his legal troubles, but go ahead.
Yeah. You got me there. But here's the list of people who have struggled with UFC contracts. And you'll notice it's a list of people who are the biggest names in the UFC, from Tito Ortiz, Frank Shamrock, Randy Couture, BJ Penn, Francis Ngannou, Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, Jorge Masvidal, John Jones, Dan Henderson, Stipe Miocic. And I bet I'm forgetting a ton of them. But if your biggest stars aren't getting along with you, I don't have to make a moral or ethical argument. You're not getting along with fighters.
I mean, sorry to interrupt, but you could even go more modern right now with Corey Anderson and some of the people that have jumped over to Bellator. Corey Anderson's already talking about he's making more money now than he made his whole career. Dan Hardy and Diego Sanchez going to box making more money. We just talked about that last week. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Benson Henderson, Gegard Mousasi. There's a ton of people. But when your biggest stars are saying hey, I want to fight Canelo Alvarez for the payday. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Come on. But yeah, for this to be a big boy sport, it does need a union. Every major sport on earth.
Tim, Dana said boxers are overpaid.
Hey, too bad. What? It's real money. They're getting paid real money for the value that they're bringing in. That's just the way of it. And you know what? I stand with the fighters first all day.
Brandon, you're a professional fighter. We constantly say fighters get paid to fight. You're a prize fighter. And your window is only so long. You're not going for the gold watch in the retirement fund. If you're smart with your money, you get to put it aside and you have a nest egg when you're done. What do you think of BJ's comments?
Yeah, I definitely co-sign with it. Like I said, it really is an opportunity, but you can say that about really any sports. You just about the NFL, right? Really the average career for an NFL player is 3 years. 3 years and you're done. Yeah. Same with any sport. Doesn't matter if it's boxing, MMA, kickboxing, football, basketball, anything, and one injury, you could be done like that. Your career is over, as they say. But hey, if you're a DJ, you could tear your ACL, you're still able to work. If you're a newscaster, same thing. So it really is an opportunity. And plus, too, with the fighting career is like a lot of people always want to be like, oh, you want to be a star and everything like that. But the thing is, though, it really is an opportunity because you need a promoter to give you an opportunity. Somebody has to say, I want you on this card. Somebody has to say, yes, I want to fight you. Because you can say, I want to fight, but if nobody wants to step on the other side of you, you have no career. You can't fight. You can't say, hey, I'm a fighter, but you got no fights because nobody wants to fight you. Or no promoter wants to take a chance on you, with you fighting. So it really is an opportunity because it's an opportunity for you to show off who you are, which then sometimes leads you to other avenues where you might meet up with people, and that could be your sponsorships, that could be, TV deals, whatever it is, So really, it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to kind of better yourself down the road, but you really don't use the combat sports as a whole career. Like say, some people do get lucky, like a Holly Holm, a Yoel Romero, a Randy Couture, they can go up long in their upper age and do this for like 20 years, 15 years. But most people, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you're done,
Yeah, I think it's both. I think I don't want to be a politician like BJ, but I think it's both. Like, for one, it is an opportunity. Like you said, it's a very short window of time that you try to capitalize on, feed your family, get a nest egg. Even if you're in the UFC on the top levels and you're getting endorsements and everything else outside the cage, you're Donald Cerrone, getting the Budweiser, like all these other different things, or going to a Bellator or PFL and getting $1 million and whatever the case is. Some people like Conor, who got to cross over and do the Floyd fight and get the proper 12 and all the other stuff he's got going on. But at the same time, there are people that have made a career out of it. Like, people think of MMA, it's not just in the cage. Like, you got people like Kenny Florian, who even after his cage has done a long commentary career with the promotion. Jimmy Smith did it for a while before he crossed over into professional wrestling. Like, there is people that make a career out of it. There's a lot of people that go behind the scenes and start working. Forrest Griffin comes to mind. Forrest Griffin has worked behind the scenes with the UFC for a long time, and people don't know that. To me, that's still a career in mixed martial arts. But if you're talking about just what happens, on that canvas, whether it's a ring or a cage, then yeah, you're right. It's an opportunity. And it's an opportunity where they need to be better taken care of. Dana White came out this week and he was like 750. If you want a roster of 750 fighters, then you can't pay them more than this amount. No way a promotion will succeed. I've told Brandon this. I think the roster should be cut in half anyway. Like, I hate the fact that we have so many participation awards. Don't get me wrong. I want every fighter to eat. I want every fighter to get paid. I want every fighter to make money. But what happened to the best of the best? What happened to the most elite? What happened to, you look at the NBA. Yeah, they expanded rosters a little bit, but pretty much you got about 8 guys on each team that are the top guys in the world. You look at the NFL, 50-something man roster, but really, how many people are we focusing on? The top, like 22 of them on offense and defense? We used to have a pay-per-view once every 6 weeks, maybe. And then once in a while, we'd have a fight night card or a UFC on Fuel or something random, right? And now we got action every single week to the point where it's kind of hard for us to even keep up with what's going on. And that's all benefiting the promoters. That's all benefiting the UFCs, the Bellators, the PFLs, whatever this unnamed promotion coming next year that Ariel Helwani was talking about. That benefits all them. It doesn't benefit the fighters. The fighters get lost in the shuffle. We sometimes wonder why some of these fighters get cut, especially if they've only lost like one fight or something like that. It's because they're trying to fit so many people under a roster, or they want to load up for a London card, so they start signing all these London fighters. And then next thing you know, half the London fighters get released. They constantly want to keep piling up the roster. But I'd rather see the best of the best fight, even if it's not as many cards per year, because now it gets that special feel. That's why boxing makes so much money. It's because when Tyson Fury fights, it's once a year, maybe twice, and it's a big deal. When the heavyweights go to war, you're not watching every little promoter on ESPN fights or something like that. You're tuning in to watch, Usyk and Joshua. You're tuning in to watch Fury and White or Wilder, any of those guys. Lower weights, you're talking about the Earl Spencers and the Crawfords. Boxing has a ton of problems. But those guys get paid to fight. And one fight, they usually, if you're a top fighter, one fight, you don't have to fight no more. That's your choice. So I think everybody's right in this conversation. Ironically, like, yeah, you said, Tim, coming from BJ, it's kind of ironic. But because honestly, if he was still winning fights, where would BJ Penn be right now?
He'd be
still
fighting.
in the UFC. Yeah. So that's an interesting topic. Definitely want to hear your thoughts about that. Leave a comment. What were you going to say, Tim?
I'm always going to compare it to big boy sports and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we're all on the same side. It's cool. Never mind.
Go ahead. Say something.
So let me compare it to, like you said,
we don't have time. I'm just kidding.
Like professional sports. Like, so I always compare it to the LA Lakers, where there's only 25 people on the team of the LA Lakers, and their total payout is $165 million annually. That's more than all of the UFC fighters
15.
combined for the last like 5 years. You know what I mean?
Sorry, folks at home. He's Canadian and Scottish. It's 15 players. Okay. 12 active and 3 like that can like be weird contracts. But yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Anyway, so the salary cap is $165 million. Am I understanding that correctly?
No, that sounds right.
And still, the top 3 people all make over $30 million per year.
Yeah.
Like, what the
guaranteed?
Guaranteed. Like this, there's obviously something going on. But like I said, you're all big boy sports, all real sports have a players union or a players association or something like that. Like Kobe Bryant said, if you want to be a serious sport, you're going to have to form that.
Yeah, I mean, people like Kung Lee, people like John Fitch, all these guys have been trying to do a union forever. Frank Shamrock, Ken Shamrock.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to happen. Because same thing in professional wrestling. It's just the promoters have too strong of a hand. And if they say, yeah, you can go join a union, but I'm not going to hire you. Like what happens to UFC says, we're only going to hire fighters who are not in the union. Guess what? You want to be on the grand stage or do you want to make money? You'll get people that want to make money and get unionized, but a lot more people are going to go for that spotlight in the UFC. And that's the difference. So
it's true.
Speaking of spotlight, transition over. We just talked about Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor with their incredible fight last weekend. First female boxing card to headline Madison Square Garden. Kind of a co-promotion between MVP Promotions and then Katie Taylor's promotions people. Yeah, and they made it flawless. It was just a fantastic card, some great undercard fights. It was just a really good night in boxing. And me and Brandon talked about this a couple episodes ago about Holly Holm flirting with the idea of going back to boxing and doing some big paydays. Obviously, different weight classes, but not too far away. You could see maybe a Clarissa Shields and Holly Holm boxing fight. I think that's the one people at MMA fans think about. But Holly's thinking about Katie Taylor. She's thinking about the top female fighter in the world right now. I'm kind of interested in how that would work with weight classes because I think Holly's
a weight class.
Are they?
Yeah, 135.
Yeah, they kind of all floated up and down. Amanda's the one that kind of had to come up for that fight with Katie because she normally fights a little bit lower at 127 pounds. But Brandon, I'll start with you. You're a big Holly Holm fan. What do you think of Holly talking about going back to boxing and fighting Katie Taylor? And do you think that would be a fight worth watching?
I mean, it would definitely be an interesting fight. Like I said, Holly Holm said that she was very intrigued by it. She was interested in it, but I know she is really focused still on her MMA career. You know, like I said, I think she said she has like 1 or 2 fights left on her UFC contract. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Like I said, you know, if she does want to come back to boxing, you know, it would be cool to see her maybe against Katie Taylor since, you know, if that's something that she wants to do. I mean, I know another person who is in talks about fighting Katie Taylor is my good old Chris Cyborg as well. Her name came up as well. But I mean, we're down to see whichever one happens. Like I say, you know, if Holly Holm wants to go back to boxing, because that is something too that what she said is she did want to be a person who started out boxing, went to MMA, and then went back to boxing to kind of show that yes, you can do it. So I would be down for it. You know, like I said, it's Holly Holm. She had an amazing boxing career. She's actually being inducted into the National Boxing Hall of Fame, I believe, in June. So, I mean, she definitely has some name value. They could probably sell out MSG as well. You know, so it would definitely be a good event.
Yeah, Tim, one thing Brandon mentioned, yeah, she's a former boxing champion. She's not just some MMA star going over to box. She's a former multi-time boxing champion in different weight classes. Holly Holm, for a long time, we were like, can she make the transition to MMA? And she did it better than anybody's done it before, in male or female. And I got to say, like, I think that would be an incredible fight. But, you know, she does still have a couple fights left in her contract. Do you think that's something that could happen?
Yeah, well, I'm always in support of it. If she wants to do some more independent style work, kind of make some money, you know, that's kind of the idea of being a pro fighter that Anderson Silva model is kind of creating. Yeah, I'm going to fill out my UFC contract, make a bunch of money there, and then fight boxers after that point. If she can do it, absolutely go for it. Is it something we'll feasibly see in the future? Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. Mainly because she doesn't pack that name like an Anderson Silva or a Conor McGregor kind of person. She is a recognizable name to people in the combat sports industry, but will we likely see that? Genuinely, I don't think so, but I would love to. I'd be all over that.
Now, I don't think they would sell out Madison Square Garden because she doesn't have like Jake Paul promoting her like the way Amanda Serrano did. Like, she doesn't have that big promotion machine behind her, especially if she's on her own and not with the UFC at that point. I think there's more chance that we see Holly Holm than Cyborg do it. I think Cyborg's been throwing boxing around as a way to get more money for a number of contracts. When she was in UFC, she did it. She talked about it before she went to Bellator. She talked about it now that her contract's up with Bellator this summer. She's talking about maybe doing a boxing fight. But I think she's just using it to get more leverage and more money, more power to her. But I think what her focus is on is getting that cross-promotional fight with Kayla or getting that cross-promotional fight with somebody else, because she's already run through everybody Bellator has. And at this point, we're only seeing rematches. I mean, what, is she going to wait for Kat Zingano and Pam Sorensen to finally fight this summer and then wait till all the way to the fall to fight again? Like, none of these girls are getting any younger. Like Brandon just mentioned it, you know, Holly Holm's up there in age. She's getting up there. She's trying to get these big paydays before she finishes up. Yeah. So, you know, these paydays aren't going to last forever. You know, we just talked about opportunity versus career. You know, both Cyborg and Holly's a little older than Cyborg. Both of them, you know, want that big ass payday before they're done.
Cyborg ain't thinking about Kayla Harrison, man. Stop trying to put that fight out there, man. Kayla Harrison,
she said it.
That fight.
She said it,
man. She's thinking about boxing, man. She'll fight Katie Taylor. Her name has come up. Eddie Hearn. I'm not putting any words in her mouth. Eddie Hearn, the promoter for Matchroom Boxing, who promotes Katie Taylor, brought up Chris Cyborg himself. Cyborg has said, hey, Jake Paul has a fight August 18th. She said, hey, maybe she could be on that card too. Maybe she might go with some MVP promotions.
I can see it, but I mean, it's not putting words in her mouth. These are words Cyborg has said. She wants to fight Kayla. Tim, you're a Kayla fan. Vouch for me. See, he said, yep. That's good enough.
Exactly. See?
All right.
He knows what's up. He knows.
I should have known to have an extra guest on this show.
Kayla wants to fight than Cyborg. Cyborg knew that fight wasn't going to happen, man. She knew. But
Cyborg's also the same one who keeps putting Amanda's name out there, knowing damn well she's never going to go back to the UFC. She's never going to fight Amanda again.
No, she ain't bringing up Amanda anymore. She was bringing up Amanda
every time her mouth opens.
That rematch.
She wants that rematch so bad. She brings that shit up every time her mouth opens. But she knows Amanda's never leaving the UFC, and there's no way Cyborg is ever going back to the UFC because she hated her time there. This is not going to happen. So Kayla or Katie, it's either Kayla or Katie. It's one or the other. Anyway, that's our thoughts on that. It's time to get to the best part of the show, the previews and the picks. You got your lead dog here. You got your guest down over there. And then you got the salty guy up over there.
They're speaking facts out here. Chris Cyborg, number one pound for pound women's MMA fighter out there. Don't listen to all those noobs out there. They don't know what they're talking about. Chris Cyborg's number one, baby.
Isn't she ranked like number 3 right now?
Zach, how? How is she ranked number 3?
She's lost to Amanda.
1. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Wait, so then that means that Juliana Pena should be number 1, then, right? Because Juliana Pena beat. Actually, she didn't even just beat. She made Amanda Nunes go like that. That's what happened.
There's one person still undefeated.
Who's that?
You know who that is.
Who's that? Who has she beat?
She fights in the PFL.
Who she beat?
Undefeated.
Who has she beat? Besides my girl Cindy Denois. That's it. Who has she beat?
You were kind of leaning on that Jenna Fabian train too.
And no, you were leaning on that Jenna Fabian train.
No, I wasn't. I've never picked against Kayla, not once.
Tim, please educate this guy, man. Give him
He's a Kayla fan. He's like
give him all the smart cage knowledge that he needs.
He's got Kayla's phone number.
Yeah, pound for pound, even though she lost, it's still Amanda Nunes. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
There you go. You went opposite of everybody. All right, let's talk about some picks. Speaking of PFL, we're going to go ahead and start things off. PFL on action this Friday night. They got a big card going up, a little bit of mixing up some of the divisions, doing something a little differently this time for a number of reasons. I think the real reason the Pettis fight got moved back is because I think his opponent wasn't quite ready. So they got some different weight classes mixed in. They got the ladies in action. Of course, headlined by Kayla Harrison, fighting Marina. I'm not going to say her last name. I'm going to leave that to Tim because that's his thing. Tim, you are our guest. We'll let you go ahead and start off. Give us a quick preview of this fight and tell us who you think is going to win.
Going to go a little bit against tradition because I never pick against Combat Sambo champions. Marina is a 6-time Combat Sambo champion.
You won't say her last name either.
No, I'm not risking. No, I just screwed it up. I don't think her
Mokhnatkina.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Mokhnatkina.
Oh, jeez.
Mokhnatkina.
Perfect, nailed it. Yeah. So Marina M. I don't think her strengths don't match up well against someone like a Kayla Harrison in terms of she's very good at scrambles, she's very good in the clinch, she's very good from top position, but that's kind of about it. So her strongest points are her opponent's strongest points. She's not overly good at setting up takedowns, she's not overly good in stand-up, or cardio's not overly good as well. So their strongest points match up together, and overall Kayla is going to be a much better competitor in that point. But I think Marina will actually have some success early. She might actually score a takedown, but I don't think she's going to be able to have any success with the takedown she does have. This is a Kayla Harrison probably second or third round finish. It's a good fight though.
Brandon?
Going with Kayla Harrison. Let me know when she fights Julia Budd. That's when I'll really be thinking about it.
He's so excited. The funny thing is about Marina Mokhnatkina. I'll take a chance, Mokhnatkina. I said it in my head a few times now, so I think I got it. Thing about Marina is that she does have, grappling experience. It is one of the rare challenges that we've seen to Kayla as far as anybody she's fought that could get taken down and maybe not be frightened and scared out of their mind that they're on their back. But there's levels to this, and Kayla, from her Olympic medals to her PFL career, and the fact that she's been training American Top Team for so many years now, she's so entrenched. She's trained with people like Amanda. She's trained with a lot of other people, though I know in recent years her and Amanda have kind of stayed separate when their training goes. But I just don't see anybody really in PFL putting up a challenge to Kayla anytime she fights. This girl will probably stretch it to a decision. She's never been stopped before. Her 2 losses are decisions. And she has 4 submissions as far as her grappling goes. So I think she'll be able to kind of maybe weather some of the storms that Kayla kind of throws with ground and pound and some other stuff. But if she starts grappling with her, it's going to be a matter of takedowns. And in that case, I think it's just Kayla having more control time and definitely more, I'm rare to say this, but more of an advantage on her feet. Over in the co-main event of that card, we also have Ray Cooper, the third popular guy here, going up against Miranda. I'll start up with you, Brandon. I know that's your dude, Ray Cooper. What happens in this fight?
Ray Cooper by knockout. That's usually what happens in a Ray Cooper fight. I'm gonna keep that trend going. Ray Cooper with the knockout could happen in the first, second, or third. Saying defending champ. Man, Ray Cooper's he in the PFL. He's that dude, man. He really should be the face of the promotion. I know everybody's on that Kayla Harrison train for the ladies, but for the guys, to me, it should be Ray Cooper.
I mean, I think Ray Cephalo's done a really good job of promoting Ray Cooper too. I don't think he's been left out by any means. Tim, what do you think is going on in that fight?
Love this fight. I think this is a really fun matchup. Carlos is on a 10-fight win streak. He's an LFA champion, and he comes into the PFL to fight the PFL champion right off the bat, who's on a 6-fight win streak. Just absolutely love this fight. I think it's actually a lot closer than what we're giving it credit for. But yeah, I'm still going to pick Ray Cooper in the end. Probably, late stoppage, kind of a third-round knockout kind of thing.
Yeah, I looked into Miranda a little bit. I didn't know much about him going into this thing. He definitely can hold his own when it comes to going toe-to-toe with Ray Cooper, but I think Ray Cooper's striking's on a different level for that division, especially being a smaller guy that likes to get inside and mix it up a little bit. And then his wrestling. And that wrestling he has to set up everything else he does. I like Ray Cooper a lot. I think he's, definitely a rising star in the world of MMA, riding high off that championship last year. So, yeah, I got Ray Cooper. Also on that card, we don't have time to break down all the fights because we're trying to get to so much stuff today. But Rory McDonald's back in fight. I'm really looking forward to this fight because I love Brett Cooper. His time in Bellator, I used to love watching Brett Cooper fight. So I'm looking forward to him and Rory McDonald fight. We got Magomed Kamirov going against Zeffirino is going to be a barn burner. Jenna Fabian and Julia Budd, speaking of those two, they're going to be going toe-to-toe. Pachenko, who's been a constant, that's the one girl we keep wanting to see. And last year she got hurt and then things happened. So maybe she'll bounce back this year. You got Sadabu Sai in action. Before we move on, Brandon, your girl Vanessa Mello in action. Brandon, what are some of the other fights you're looking forward to on this card?
Dang, man, you didn't even mention Anthony Pettis.
I'm letting you talk. I don't want to say everything.
Saying I mean, of course, looking forward to Anthony Pettis fight. Like I said, the Rory McDonald fight, Julia Budd and
see, Tim, that's what I deal with. I throw him a softball, and he just like
you guys.
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
That's it. No, that's it. That's really it. I'm looking for, like saying, you already mentioned all the fights, and then of course you'll just throw in Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, Anthony Pettis, but you got to be looking forward to that Julia Budd fight, though.
Sure, man. I mean, man.
This is why we're turning into a B show.
Julia Budd does her thing. Like I said, she was brought in to really probably bring Kayla's biggest choice. Like I said, man, her husband / coach, Lance Gibson, man. Good coach, his son Lance Gibson Jr. is in Bellator. He's been killing it. So I also like to say, she's well trained. Like saying that's the fight. She is a strong, powerful woman as well to kind of go up against Kayla. Like I said, that's the fight that I'm looking for down the road when it happens.
Tim, anything else you're looking forward to in this card?
Gleason Tebow, my middle-class MMA fighter. Just this guy fights. Wow. Man, I love a Gleason Tebow. He made his debut, when I was like 8 years old or something? Yeah, 1999. That's not even a joke. I would have been 8. Yeah, absolutely love me a Gleason.
Me and Brandon feel old. It's cool.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. But yeah, Gleason Tebow, check it out.
I'll say one more name. Abigail Montez making, her debut in the tournament. Last year, obviously, she upset Clarissa Shields. I told people to look out for her. She has an extensive history of fighting. She's young, but she's one of those Mexican fighters. They don't track everything they do. She's done Muay Thai. She's done grappling. She's done a bunch of stuff that's not on Tapology. And to be only 22 years old now, I think, it's interesting to see what she does. So she'll be in the tournament, see if she makes some noise, starting off against Helena Kolznik. Just so much fun fights on that one. Make sure you check them out. They're going to be on Friday the 6th this time, as Brandon keeps correcting me on the PFL schedule. Thank you, Brandon. Over on Bellator, I'm a little shocked to see them kind of running with both two big cards this week, actually. But Bellator got their rematch with Bader and Kongo. They're going to be heading over to Paris, France, and check Kongo's backyard. Speaking of that main event, Tim, who you got, and tell me why.
Thing is, I think Kongo has shown a few new things in his last few fights with some creative work in the clinch. But overall, I think Ryan Bader is just better in every area. If this was a video game, on every stat sheet, Ryan Bader would be ahead, whether we're talking striking or grappling, whether we're talking speed or power. I think this is a good fight for Ryan Bader. Even in their prime, I'd probably still pick Ryan Bader. But at this point, I think Czech Kongo has slowed down quite a bit. But yeah, this is a Ryan Bader fight. What do you guys think?
Brandon?
I'm going with the darkness, man. I picked Czech Kongo the first time they fought. I'm going to go with Czech Kongo this time, saying the first time the fight got stopped.
The eye poke.
Yeah, eye poke.
Eye poke around the world.
Yeah, so now they're running it back. Same, man, like you said, Czech Kongo, he gets that clinch, man. He got them nice knees that'll drop somebody. like I said, I am not expecting this to be a nice, exciting fight. Usually when Cheick Kongo's fighting, it's going to be a boring fight because that's how he gets the fight to be. He takes you down, grounds and pounds you, holds you there, or he keeps you in the clinch, just smothers you. Like I said, Ryan Bader, he likes to try to get that space, especially with heavyweights. He tries to throw his hands, use his speed, but I just think Cheick Kongo is going to catch him, smother him, and just eke out a nice 5-round decision.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like I look at it, I'm actually just going to go ahead and tell you right now, I like Ryan Bader. I think at heavyweight, he's so much faster. At light heavyweight, he's in a lot more wars because everybody's as fast as he is as far as that. But I think, Cheick Kongo, he's done some good stuff his last couple fights. But I like Ryan Bader. I think Ryan Bader is just so much faster, so much quicker. And it could be a boring fight. It could be a scrap, or it could be a quick fight if Bader gets him down. But I think Ryan Bader's going to take this one. Over in the co-main event, speaking of boring fighters, Yoel Romero going against a late replacement and Alex Pelosi. Kind of interesting because Pelosi's a 10-1 fighter. He's on the rise, but he stepped in last second. Brandon, what do you think of this fight?
Going with Yoel Romero, man. He needs to show out for Bellator. He's still looking for that nice performance. Like I said, I mean, his opponent is definitely young on a tear. But like I said, late replacement, you're traveling all the way over to France. That travel can get to you. You never know, man. The weight cut might not go right. But I'm just gonna go with Yoel Romero. Get this job done.
What do you think, Tim?
I want to know where Alex Pelosi was when Melvin Manhoef's house was robbed. Melvin Manhoef is out here stopping crime. What's Pelosi doing? That's the only
robbing his house, robbing his car, taking his paycheck.
What am I to assume? How am I supposed to assume? Oh, I miss Melvin Manhoef. I thought that was a fun fight. Man, I interviewed Melvin, and I said,
more excited for that fight.
And me too. I was way more excited for that one. I asked him, who do you want next? And he was like, I'll fight anyone. I don't give a shit. 2 hours later, they announced this fight. And I was like, man, I don't know if Melvin actually knew about this fight.
I think he did. I don't think it was that. I think he probably just didn't want to tell you.
No, he called out someone. I forget who he called. Did we call out Corey Anderson? Okay.
No. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Corey already smashed his face in once.
Yeah.
Right. Good luck fighting. I mean, Melvin's old as hell. But anyway, Alex Pelosi.
Focus him back on this fight.
Yes, Alex Pelosi. He is a takedown, top position grappler. I don't think his entries are that good. He doesn't close the distance very effectively, and he doesn't cover up very well from scrambles or recovering from failed takedowns. So I think that really feeds into the strength that Yoel Romero has, which is landing strikes when you're kind of in the mid to close range in scrambles. And I don't think Pelosi's going to find much success in this fight. This is a Yoel Romero win.
I'm going the opposite of both of you guys. I think Pelosi's going to win this fight. I think easy Pelosi's going to make it look easy because he does the one thing Romero doesn't like doing anymore. He's old. He doesn't want to scramble with you. He can for a little bit, but he's not going to do it for 3 rounds. If Pelosi can get out of that first round, which I think is the biggest thing, I think Romero will come out, throw a few bombs, try to get this guy out early. And if he lasts, like we saw, pretty much all of Romero's last 5 or 6 fights, once he gets to the second, late second, early third, he's done. He don't want to be fighting no more. He's just sitting there taking a beating. And I think in this case, Pelosi's going to get him on the ground and tap him out because Romero just wants the paycheck. I don't believe he still has that killer instinct that he used to have. I don't think he has that knockout punch that he used to have. Maybe in the beginning of the fight, but once it gets going, I just think it's done. So I think Pelosi's going to make that Robin Manhoef's house worth it, and I think he's going to win this fight. Elsewhere, we got Davey Gallen and Branditor in an up-and-coming fight. Lorenz Larkin, veteran, we've known him for quite a while. He's fighting Kyle Stewart. Pedro Cavallo's on this card. Tim, any other things on this card you're looking forward to?
Man, so one of these French regional fighters, he started his career going 0-6, and now he's 8-6. He is on an 8-fight win streak, despite being like 8-6. I forget the gentleman's name, but yeah. So there's some interesting regional guys there, but it's very typical, like Bellator going to Europe, which I always absolutely love to see. But no, I have nothing else to add on that one.
Brandon,
Pedro Cavallo, man, he's back in action. So you definitely down to see how he does. And then, of course, my one lady fight over here, that they got going on in France. So
Berthaud and Sedora.
Yep.
I'm interested to see. I love watching some of Bellator's guys that are undefeated or have one loss trying to come up. They got this guy, Diata on the card. He's 8-0 going against Barton, 6-2-1. So that'll be a fun fight to see where some of these guys are. I love watching some of these up-and-coming fighters that Bellator puts on some of these cards because you probably wouldn't see them if they weren't in France or somewhere close regionally. So be a fun fight. We'll see it on Friday night, going toe-to-toe with PFL. So I'll probably
actually Bellator is first.
Bellator is early because of the time zone difference.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's actually starting at early time at 1 o'clock.
Okay, cool. So I'll probably try to get caught up on both those later because it's a Friday, crazy stuff going on. But I'm looking forward to watching all that action. But that leads us to the one last card of the night. Speaking on Saturday, we got a reason why we got Tim here. We got a big pay-per-view coming up. UFC 274. Got Gaethje and Oliveira going toe-to-toe. Honestly, might be one of Oliveira's toughest challenges to date at this point, in my opinion. Brandon, I'll start with you. Who do you got in this main event? And tell me why.
I'm going with and still, man. Going with the Bronx. Charles Oliveira. People been doubting this guy. I know everybody's all about Justin Gaethje. They think it's his time. But to me, Oliveira can win it anyway, man. He can win it by submission. He can win it by TKO. He can win it on points, you know. Like I said, a lot of people always think about Justin Gaethje. Yes, he has good wrestling. The man can sprawl like nobody's business. You know, the thing is, though, the Bronx isn't really a takedown guy. He's more of a scrambler. He can take your back, but also, too, the guy will just straight up jump guard if he has to. Yeah. And he will engage. Like some people
he's a true jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, like some people like a Damian Maia, they need the takedown. You know, they don't jump guard. But Oliveira, he'll jump guard. Aljamain Sterling, you know, he scrambles and takes your back. Oliveira can do the same thing. To me, man, the only way Gaethje wins this fight is if it stays standing and like Oliveira is just gonna stand and trade with him and he gets caught. But to me, I'm like I said, I picked against Oliveira on the last fight against Poirier. Hey man, he came out, did his thing. You know, like I said, I just think he has more tools to win this. And like I said, I think a lot of people are just looking at Justin Gaethje, you know, takedown defense. You know, Oliveira isn't really a takedown guy. Oh, you know, Gaethje is the better striker, everything like that. But the thing is, like I said, Oliveira, man, he will just take your back. He'll jump guard. You know, he will make it a scramble. Yeah, you know, to win this fight. So that's my pick.
Tim?
No, I totally co-sign with you. I think some of the things that Justin Gaethje has also been saying make me more concerned for his chances because he said, I don't like the way I fought in the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight because I was going back. Yeah, nailed it. Because I was going
I'm the one correcting you. Okay.
So Gaethje said in the Khabib fight that he was going backwards and he shouldn't have been doing that. He did really well in the stand-up of like keeping distance, landing punches from guard. Remember, Khabib had to leap like 18 feet across the octagon to actually get a hold of that man's legs. He said, in this fight, I'm going to be going forward at all times. I don't know if that's a really good strategy in this fight, but that idea that we now have of the very smart, collected Justin Gaethje, I was on, he's called No Name MMA Show, and he pointed that out to me. That smart striking Gaethje only existed in one fight. As soon as he hears the audience, he's gone. He goes and sees red right away. But yeah, Oliveira, Brandon, just like you said, he doesn't even need a takedown to get the submissions. In fact, I think his last couple of fights, he hasn't even got a takedown and still won those by submission. Yeah, this is a great fight for Oliveira. I think he strikes well from range. Even though he does get dropped in every fight, I still absolutely see this as a Charles Oliveira submission win. All roads lead to Oliveira in this one for me.
Now, see, I'm real torn about this fight because you just mentioned right at the end of what you were saying, he got rocked against Chandler and he was in trouble. He got rocked against Poirier and he was in trouble, but he finds ways to kind of hang out. Now he dominated Tony Ferguson and he's been dominant for now like 8-9 fights in a row. He finds ways to get your back. He finds ways to get your win. In Chandler's case, he just knocked him out with your good old check left hook. And that leaves me kind of wondering, like, what you said about Gaethje is true, but at the same time, when the last time we saw Gaethje fight against Chandler, we did see a smart Gaethje. We did see a guy who, you know, chose when to kind of like put it on him, and it ended up being a guy, you know, ended up both the guys going to the hospital because it was just a straight up rock'em sock'em robots fight. I worry if Gaethje lands against Oliveira, I wonder if Oliveira can take Gaethje the way he took Chandler, the way he took Poirier. because Gaethje obviously is considered one of the top strikers in the sport. But that said, both you guys are right. Oliveira finds a way to hang in there. He finds a way to get you in bad positions. We saw what Khabib did to Gaethje, where he went from a Kimura to the guillotine, and like just the way he just smoothly transitioned. What do you think Oliveira is going to do if he gets a hold of you? Those transitions are going to be crazy. But I wonder if Oliveira gets to that point. How many times is too many times that he gets caught? Can he get caught one more time and still keep going? So I'm actually going to pick Gaethje. I think Gaethje's, this might be his time. I'm not confident in the pick. I will tell you that much. I'm not confident in the pick, but I will pick Gaethje because I think this is really a pick 'em fight. I think it's really a pick 'em fight.
Yeah. It really is.
Wait, I know we're gonna go to the next one, but I got a question for you, Mike, because this is what I hear from what you said about Oliveira getting caught. I hear from a lot of people, and I just want to know. So he got caught by Chandler.
Yeah, the fight almost got stopped.
Yeah,
how hard he got caught.
Yeah, and he got caught by Poirier. Now, to me, Gaethje is a guy who catches you with his leg kicks. He's known for going to leg kicks. He's not really going for the knockout. Like to me, he's chopping your legs, trying to stop you that way, and then that way he jumps on the value. Now, Dustin Poirier beat Gaethje. He outworked Gaethje. He outlasted him.
I mean, matchups make fights, though.
Yeah, which is why I kind of think I lean more towards Oliveira. I guess my thing is I want to know is why do you think Gaethje can stop him, but Poirier but Poirier and Chandler didn't? Why do you think that Gaethje has the potential to stop him since those two guys didn't?
Real quick to answer you before we move on, I think it's just really a matter of Gaethje's chin versus theirs. I think Gaethje's proven he could take a hell of a beating in any fight he's done from World Series of Fighting all the way till now. He just has a granite chin. So if you catch him with a check left hook, he might go down, but he's going to keep coming. And he's going to keep coming. I think Oliveira could tap him out. But I just think Gaethje lands the cleaner shots than both Poirier and Chandler, as we saw in the last fight with Chandler and Gaethje. I think Chandler landed a lot of shots. Gaethje landed the better shots. And I think if we see a more patient Gaethje, and I'm basing this off that last fight. I know Gaethje said he's going to come for it, but I'm basing this what I saw in that Chandler fight. If we see a more patient, smarter Gaethje, especially against a guy like Oliveira who's not going to come rushing in the way Chandler did, I think this is a fight set up for Gaethje. I think matchups make fights. We all know this. Sometimes some guy can beat one guy but can't beat another guy. Poirier would go toe-to-toe with Gaethje. And he has really good boxing. But in this case, I think those leg kicks that Oliveira might be more susceptible to because he does have thinner legs. He does have a longer frame. I think it's just a feeling, man. I can't really tell you that I think one way or another that Oliveira can't win this fight because I think Oliveira can win this fight. I just think Gaethje's going to win this fight. It's just a feeling. It's just a gut feeling. I'm not always right, Brandon, but I'm right more than you this year.
Okay.
Over in the co-main event, we got a fight you've been looking forward to a long time. So I'm going to make you wait a second and start with Tim. Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza for the championship. Tim, who you got and tell me why?
Absolutely love this fight. They fought years ago at the end of Tough. Carla Esparza dominated her in terms of wrestling. Carla Esparza is now on the comeback trail. She's got a few wins in a row. Good for her for doing that. The first time they fought, Rose Namajunas was basically an amateur fighter at that point. She had absolutely no experience at all, whereas Carla Esparza was she was an Invicta champion by the time she was
the favorite.
Yeah, she absolutely was.
She was that whole Tough was set up for her to win.
Yeah, and it worked out. And that's exactly what happened. Rose has obviously become a much better fighter than she was in 2014 when they originally fought. Very good in and out movement, very good timing on all of her strikes. All of her wins, though, I do caution you, none of them have actually been to a wrestler. Zhang Weili was able to land a bunch of takedowns on her still. However, I'm still going to pick Rose. I think her in and out movement is too good. I think her in and out movement is too fast. Her timing's going to be too good in this fight. But yeah, I'm going to be picking Rose in this one.
Not to throw my pick out there before I get to Brandon, but in hindsight, and also in fairness, I meant Rose also took Weili down the last couple of rounds, which won her the fight. Brandon, who you got in this one?
Man, you guys know who I'm going with, man. I'm going with the Cookie Monster. I've been a Carla Esparza fan since her Bellator days, man, when she was in, and also too when she was in Invicta. Like I said, man, I'm rocking with the Cookie Monster. Like I said, this fight's been so long in the making. I'm just going with Carla Esparza. I think her take. Like I said, I think we all know she has the wrestling advantage. She'll be able to take her down. Saying Rose definitely does have the striking advantage, but Carla has been working on her striking, as you saw with her fight with Claudia Gadelha. She was standing and trading with Claudia Gadelha, and we all know Claudia Gadelha is a powerhouse. You really don't want to stand toe to toe with her, but that's what Carla Esparza did. And she didn't get stopped or anything like that. And then even her last fight that she had, Carla Esparza, her hands are looking sharp, but I think she knows where her bread and butter is. She's going to use her hands to set up her takedowns, and then I think it's going to be control, ground and pound, and go from there. New champion.
I mean, this is another great fight. Like, you talk about like a pick'em fight. Like, everything Brandon just said, everything Tim said, everything's right. Carla really impressed me with her hands against Jan, against Marina Rodriguez. Like, some of the fights, Michelle Waterson, like, she stopped Jan. She got a TKO against Jan. She stopped her with her hands. She does her wrestling. She does all this grappling, but she has learned how to mix in her striking. And that's the one thing she was missing for years. That's why, even though she was the inaugural champion, she lost that belt pretty quickly because she didn't have the striking to go along with everything else. She's more balanced now. But at the same time, so is Rose. What we saw those last couple rounds against Wei Li, that's why Rose won that fight. Arguably, I think Wei Li won that fight. I'm not going to lie. I thought Wei Li won 3-2, but the judges gave it to Rose. I think the biggest thing that Carla still does wrong is that she comes kind of rushing in with her face. And she's won a couple tough split decisions that way. She's kind of won a couple grappling. And then she came out and just really looked great against Jan. But I think Carla, was one head kick away. Like, I think, Rose can stop that fight quick. And I still think Rose has evolved more than Carla has evolved. And her whole training camp is going to be stopping the takedown. I think Rose's toughness won't let her just get knocked down and stopped the way Jan did against Carla. So I think Rose is going to win this fight. I think she's going to win the rematch. And then maybe we see her fight either Wei Li or Joanna Champion after they fight later this summer. So the division's getting fired up again, so it's going to be some fun stuff. I'm picking Rose. Guys, it's time to pick our own fight card before we break down the rest of the card. Are more fights to watch. Brandon, what fight are you looking out for this time?
Man, I'm going with the old gunslingers, the OGs, Cowboy Cerrone versus Joe Lozon. I got to go with my guy, Cowboy Cerrone. Been a fan of his since his WEC days. Always going to rock with him. So I'm going with the Cowboy. I could see a decision, but I also could see a finish.
Yeah, that's tough. Cowboy hasn't been Cowboy in a while, so that's going to be interesting. Tim, what fight are you looking forward to?
Open St. Preux versus Mauricio Shogun, who I do like OSP. I like any of the Strikeforce boys, but Shogun's just, he's my boy. So he's always going to pick a first-round knockout for him. But in reality, yeah, that's probably a good fight for OSP, even at this late stage in his career.
It might actually be. You might not be wrong about the first-round knockout for Shogun. You're picking Shogun by knockout?
Yeah, I'll pick Shogun officially by knockout.
OSP has looked horrible his last couple fights.
Oh man, he's looked bad.
I want to say, yeah, his last couple fights have been at heavyweight too, right? So isn't he dropping back down to 205 now?
Yeah, but he's looked so much slower, so much more ragged. Like, I've been wanting to root for this guy. I love watching him fight over the years. And Shogun actually has kind of turned back the clock his last couple fights. I know this is one of his last fights, period. I think he said this might even be his last fight, but. They all say that.
I'm just like, yo, watch OSP Regan hit a Von Flue choke on Shogun.
Probably because we're talking about this. My fight of the night to watch out for, quite honestly, it might even be another one of those like fights you're not really looking at because everybody's going to be staring at the main card with Chandler and Ferguson, and you mentioned Shogun, you mentioned Cowboy. Randy Brown versus Chaos Williams. But actually, I'm looking down at Brandon Royval and Matt Schnell. These guys have been posted matchup a couple times. Brandon Royval is just a couple fights removed from, when he had his shoulder popped out of place against Moreno. Still trying to get his kind of wits back. It's going to be a fun fight. Matt Schnell's been fighting a lot better as of late. But I think Royval it's his fight to lose. I think he can go anywhere it goes, like standing or on the ground. I think Matt Schnell is pretty much a wrestler / ground and pound, maybe a couple of head kicks here and there. And it works. It works for him. He's been fighting for a long time, ever since, MTV, right? Like caged fighter. But I really think this is Brandon Royval's fight to watch. Also on the card, like you mentioned, Michael Chandler versus Ferguson. That's going to be a fun fight. I really don't want to watch that fight because I think it's just going to be – I think Chandler is going to just be a bloodbath against Ferguson. I don't think Tony has anything left at this point, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a more competitive fight. Randy Brown versus Chaos Williams. That's going to be a hell of a fight. You like those? What did you call a middle class MMA fighter when you talked about Gleason?
Yeah, exactly.
Francisco Trinaldo versus Anthony Roberts.
Francisco Trinaldo, definitely middle class. Yeah,
fight that I know Brandon's looking for. Macy Chazan and Norman Dumont. I love watching Norman Dumont fight. It's just a stat card, and of course, Brandon, I'm surprised you didn't pick the Tracy Cortez fight.
Yeah, her and Ortega, I'm kind of not feeling her as much anymore, but it is what it is. I'm still watching the fight, but I'm kind of a little off the Tracy Cortez hype train now.
Does your wife watch this show?
She listens here and there,
Oh, I'm still on that Tracy Cortez train for sure. Anyway, what other fights are you looking forward to, Tim, on this card?
Yeah, like you said, the Chaos Williams one is extremely good. Do like the look of that one. Francisco Trinaldo, yeah, great. Love that middle class. There was one. No, I got nothing else. Lupi Godinez, I do like her quite a bit. She hasn't been doing amazing since joining the UFC.
Well, she won that one fight, then tried to run back like the next week against like Bays or whatever, and then she lost like 2 in a row now.
Yeah.
She came out like great, and then
I know. That's the thing of like she pushed at the right time to kind of make her name, and then kind of fell flat while doing it. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. I think even if they were both in their prime, I'd still pick Michael Chandler. But considering the state of this fight now, I do hope this is a retirement.
In prime would be a totally different story because I think Ferguson would wrap him up in pretzels.
No way! Like look at the way of like someone like Kevin Lee was getting on top and getting ground and pound at that time.
You're talking about prime Michael Chandler. What did he do? He rushed in, took you down, and tried to ground pound you. You rush in and try to take down Tony Ferguson, he's going to wrap you up. Talking about like Oliveira pulling guard. That's what Tony Ferguson used to do.
But Tony Ferguson, list more than 3 people he got a submission against from his back.
All right, now I got to pull up Tony Ferguson's record.
You about to go to Tapology now or Sure Dog?
I'm already on Sure Dog, but first of all, okay, Kevin Lee got in the triangle. Speaking of which, the Bravo choke, multiple people, including Barboza, the Bravo choke.
That's a front choke. That's not from the bottom.
Your boy Gleason T-Bow, he got the rear naked on.
That's not from bottom.
Though.
That's not from bottom.
But that was a transition.
Maybe.
I'll tell you it was. I remember that T-Bow fight. T-Bow took him down and scooped him up. And then he got on the back, got swept, and Tony took his back.
All right.
But you look at his whole career, like he's got so many submissions because he can take you from all kinds of different. You look at that Oliveira fight; he was getting murdered by Oliveira, but there was multiple times he tried to lock in a choke or do something like out of nowhere and try like oh my God, Tony can do it. No, he can't do it. But oh my God, no, he can't do it. Like how many times did we do that during the Oliveira Ferguson fight? We wanted to like see the old school Tony, but it was just too late. It was just too far gone. I mean, he's like 38, 39 years old now, man. He spent half his window chasing Khabib, and all his fights fell through.
Yep.
And this is what we got. The best he got, interim champion. So that's that. We'll be watching on Saturday. It's going to be a fantastic fight card. It's really stacked. I think we got like 15 fights right now. I'm sure a couple will fall off, but it's going to be a fun fight card. I'm just looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Real quick, Tim, obviously you're on the network here. We're kicking it. Obviously you got your Calf Kick Sports going on. I know you're doing some interviews with One. You want to tell people about it?
And I got so much go. So we got an interview with One Championship for the Kicking It show. We got an interview with another One Championship fighter for Vex Sport, which is a Dutch kickboxing organization. Got interviews with Sports Kita. Got interviews with Calf Kick Sports. Got interviews with MMA Sucker coming up in the next little while here. Every organization I'm working with, we're going to have some kickboxers on in the next little while.
So what he's saying is watch fighters first and don't watch any of the other stuff.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. He's the interview was fun too. He's a good guy. I was like, what do you think of your opponent? And he's like, man, I want to fuck up this other guy. I was like, okay, let's talk about that, man. Sounds good.
Well, we'll make sure that's up on the network either Thursday or Friday, probably Thursday, with all the stuff going on. Brandon, you're middle of training. How's everything going, man? You excited? You getting geared up?
Yeah, man, training's going well. You know, like I said, Wednesday's just always a tough day. Wednesdays and Fridays are usually my long days for me. But yeah, man, it's going good. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out with my Muay Thai coach, you know, did some pad drills today. Yeah, man, feeling good, you know.
All right, looking forward to it. And, you know, like we said, lots of stuff going on Fighters First before we get out of here. Just signed Justin the Moose Muslia. Got his interview over on Unfiltered, so check that out. Justin's a fun guy. If you don't know, we talk everything from boy bands to street fighting to what's coming up next. We'll talk about, obviously, the elephant in the room of why he walked away from MMA, why he popped up in the gym one day just out of nowhere. It's actually a pretty interesting story. I don't know, even Brandon, you know the story, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Why he came back? Okay. Yeah, so, you know, Tiger Schulman's represented well now in Fighters First, got a couple different fighters, always looking to add more. But Justin's a great guy, fun interview. I had a good time talking to him. So check that out. Check out everything this weekend. We'll talk to you next week about everything going on. Hopefully have Tim on again soon, especially for pay-per-views. Love getting his insights. It's hard beating Brandon every single week. So sometimes I like a little competition. I'm just waiting for Brandon to jump through the screen one time. I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm not the best-looking co-host you got on the network. I'm sorry.
It's all
but
good.
I got the best shirt. Anyway, check out FightersFirst.shop. Get the Kicking It shirt. Get the Mechanic shirt. Get the Art of MMA shirt. And, of course, all the official collections. Like I said, Brandon has a fight coming up June 18th. Make sure you guys represent with all the Kicking It. We got the shirts, the hoodies, zip-up hoodies, you name it. Probably more stuff coming up soon. I don't know. At this point, I might even get the guy a beach towel. We'll see. But check it out, FightersFirst.shop. This is Art of MMA. That's Tim Wheaton. That's the Mechanic, Brandon Cuttino. I'm Mike Ginn, and we're out.